Look, sometimes a name just fits. In football, that's not just fun, it feels almost more like destiny. Every so often, the name on the jersey tells you all that you need to know about the guy wearing it. We're not talking about just legends here. No, we're talking about guys who are literally born to play their position. So, let's take a look back throughout the years and break down the all-time best player names that are perfectly matched to their positions. Quarterback, Chuck Long. You can't make this stuff up. A quarterback named Chuck Long? That literally could be the perfect name for an epic gunslinging quarterback. I mean, this guy was literally born to sling it downfield. Chuck it long might have been a casual sideline phrase for most every other team, but for Iowa or the Detroit Lions in the 80s, it was just them yelling the name of their quarterback. Chuck Long sounds like someone who calls deep shots on first down and doesn't apologize for it. Now, unfortunately, he only threw 19 career touchdowns in the NFL, so maybe this one's a bit more bark than bite. Especially when you factor in the 28 picks, 54.5% completion percentage, and the 64.5 rating. He wasn't too good of a head coach either, as he went 9-27 with the clipboard in his hands after his playing career came to a merciful end. But you can't tell me that he didn't win the pre-snap huddle and at least garner some excitement in the locker room with a name like that. Running back, DeAndre Swift. Let's be real here. If your last name is Swift and you don't play running back, you're kinda wasting your name. Thankfully, DeAndre Swift made the right career choice because with his explosive cuts, top-tier acceleration, and slipperiness in the open field, he plays exactly how you'd expect a guy named Swift to play. From the moment that he entered the league, he brought instant electricity to whatever offense he was in. One cut and gone. Just ask the defenders still trying to figure out how they missed. Whether it was in Detroit or Philly, Swift made defenders look like they were stuck in slow-mo while he was on 2x speed. We're not going to see him trucking linebackers into the turf or stiff-arming a guy into the parking lot, but that's not what the name Swift implies anyway. He's built to glide, bounce, slip, and burn. And yeah, he's had a few injuries, and he's not exactly a bell cow, but if you're looking for a back who plays up to his name, boom, Swift is at the top of that list. Fullback, Mac Strong. Now this one just feels unfair. I mean, come on, a fullback named Mac Strong? You immediately picture a dude built like a fridge with legs, barreling through defenders and clearing a path for someone else to get the glory. Strong didn't put up massive numbers, but that's not what fullbacks do. What he did was pave the way for one of the league's most dangerous runners in Sean Alexander. The man was a hammer. 2 Pro Bowls, 14 years with the Seahawks. Look, just saying, you don't last that long at fullback without being, well, strong as hell. Hard to believe that the name didn't help. Mac Strong just sounds like someone you don't want to meet in the hole. It reads like a Madden creative player who's primed for a protein powder sponsorship. Look, bottom line, if you're building a fullback in a lab, you'd name him Mac Strong if you had any sense. Wide receiver, Mike Quick. This one writes itself. Wide receiver named Mike Quick. Dude, that is perfect. The guy may as well have been born wearing cleats and running a 4.440. And this guy gets bonus points for being a legit stud at the position. The name clearly pushed him over the top. Mike Quick sounds like someone who gets separation before the defensive backs even blink. A guy who makes corners look like they're standing in cement. And Quick was the total package. Hands, route running, and of course, speed. 5 Pro Bowls, 3 All-Pros, 1 receiving yardage crown, nearly 20 yards per catch in his best season. The guy wasn't just, well, quick. He was downright explosive. If you're a defensive coordinator and you see a receiver named Quick lining up across from your guys, you're already sweating. He lived up to the name, no questions about it. But with a moniker like that, he pretty much had no other choice. Tight end, Todd Heap. Todd Heap wasn't just a run-of-the-mill tight end. He was a problem. A 6'5", 250-pound heap of a human who could set the edge in the run game and still beat linebackers over the middle. The guy could block, chip, seal, and when the Ravens needed it, he could snag a touchdown in traffic like it was nothing. This wasn't your modern flex tight end stuff either. He played in the dirt. He earned his paycheck in the trenches. And yet, despite doing the dirty work, he still racked up over 5,400 receiving yards, 42 touchdowns, and 2 Pro Bowl nods. He was the safety valve before safety valve became a buzzword. If the play broke down, well, just find Heap. And come on, can we just acknowledge how perfectly his last name fits? Like, if you saw T. Heap on the depth chart and didn't immediately picture a blocking tight end built like a pile of cinder blocks, well, that's on you. In a league that is constantly obsessed with sleek and sexy names, Todd Heap was a bit of a throwback. A classic, a full package tight end whose name fit like a glove. And hit like a hammer. Offensive guard, Will Shields. Let's just say this. If you're looking for someone to shield the quarterback and open up the holes in the run game, then you'd probably want a guy named Will Shields. He had grit, leverage, and a name that already told you everything that you needed to know. And lucky for the Chiefs, they had him leading the way for their squad up front for a long time. Shields didn't just protect. He dominated. 12 straight Pro Bowls, 223 consecutive starts, not a single missed game from 1993 to 2006. That's not just durability, that is robotic consistency. But beyond the resume, his name just works. Shields, well, it evokes exactly what he was. Reliable, strong, and always between danger and the guy he was paid to protect. And I mean, come on, Will Shields. He will shield you. It's perfect. His job was to be the wall, and his name basically wrote it in the stars that he was gonna be one. Offensive tackle, Art Shell. This might be one of the most beautiful cases of unintentional poetry in NFL history. His name sounds like something out of an offensive line coach's motivational speech, not a real name. And Shell didn't just live up to it. Oh no, he defined it. 8 Pro Bowls, 2 Super Bowl rings, Hall of Famer. Oh, and one of the first black head coaches in modern NFL history. This man wasn't just great, he was a pillar. Shell is a technician, a road grader, and a quarterback's bodyguard all in one. And the name is just, chef's kiss. You couldn't name an offensive tackle better if you tried. Center, Jeff Saturday. In the world of centers, man, there is no better name, because when Sunday comes, you want Saturday leading the way. Someone cue the drum and cymbals. But Jeff Saturday wasn't just a feel-good name. Oh no, he was one of the best centers of his era. 5 Pro Bowls, 2 first-team All-Pros, and a key cog in the Peyton Manning machine for over a decade in Indy. He kept defenders out of Manning's lap and did it with the kind of command that reminded you that he wasn't just some guy with a fun last name, but instead a real threat. Defensive tackle, Tank Johnson. It's almost too perfect. Tank Johnson, defensive tackle. I mean, come on, you hear that name and your brain immediately pictures a 300-pound mass of destruction crashing through a double team like a wrecking ball with a bad attitude. And of course, that's exactly what the man was. At 6'3", 315 pounds, Tank Johnson brought power, leverage, and an undeniable sense of presence to the defensive front. Coordinators didn't scheme runs at Tank. Everything was designed to disrupt his attack and get the back away from him, which quite literally was no small task. Defensive end, Jack Youngblood. This one doesn't need a pun, doesn't need wordplay. It just sounds like a guy who eats quarterbacks for breakfast. Jack Youngblood. Yeah, say it out loud. Now imagine trying to block that. A Hall of Famer, 7 Pro Bowls, 5 All-Pros. The man once played through a broken leg in the playoffs as a defensive end. But, you know, with a name like Youngblood, that sort of tracks. His entire identity was built on intensity and old-school toughness. You'd think offensive linemen weren't already half defeated when they saw J. Youngblood on the scouting report? Come on now. Linebacker, Michael Stonebreaker. That is a name straight out of an action movie or a fantasy novel. Michael Stonebreaker. That sounds like he should have been tackling people through the turf, ripping helmets off, breaking, well, stones. But here's the unfortunate truth. He didn't really pan out as a pro. Now, Stonebreaker was a beast at Notre Dame. Tough, physical, instinctive. Hell, the name matched the play at that point. But when he hit the NFL, not so much. The game was just a bit too fast for him, and his career was ultimately limited to brief stints with no lasting impact. Just a handful of tackles and a legacy that lived more in potential than production. Oh well, at least he'll have his place on this list to cling to as a career accomplishment. Cornerback, Quinton Jammer. If you are a wide receiver and you see Quinton Jammer Jammer lined up across from you, you know how your day's gonna go. The guy's last name is literally what corners are taught to do at the line of scrimmage. Jam, disrupt, ruin the rhythm. Quinton Jammer didn't just bring physicality to the position, he became the position. A 12-year vet with the Chargers, nearly 700 tackles, all of the pass deflections that a defensive coordinator could want. Quinton Jammer was the real deal for a good while there. He wasn't flashy, but he was a problem. The kind of guy who'd get right up in your grill and make every route feel like a fist fight. Hence, the whole Jammer thing. His game matched the name. He was press coverage personified. Going against Quinton Jammer meant you just weren't getting off the line. And, well, I think that's as fitting as it gets. Safety, Glover Quinn. The name Glover Quinn doesn't just sound like a safety, it sounds like a guy who shows up to the stadium in a trench coat and gloves ready to rob your favorite wide receiver blind. And that's pretty much what he did. Quinn had a knack for being everywhere, in the right spot, at the right time, with the right pair of hands. Not to mention, well, he could stick to opposing wide receivers like a glove. Of course, he stuck to receivers like Velcro and man coverage. You hear Glover Quinn and your brain's already picturing a guy sliding across the turf with sticky hands and bad intentions. Or maybe a boxer, I don't know. But still, he played like his name promised. Smooth, reliable, and always ready to wrap things up. Kicker, Chris Blewett. Yeah, this one's a little bit cruel, or at least feels like it. Chris Blewett. A kicker. That's the name. That's the job. Joke just sort of writes itself. Don't think you need to be a comedy writer to see the punchline here. His job is literally to not blow it. Safe to say, when your name is Blewett and you go 2 for 5 on field goals in your first NFL stint, well, the universe kind of wrote that script for you. Punter, Ray Guy. Sometimes greatness hides in simplicity. Like, for instance, being a punter named Ray Guy. It's so aggressively basic that it loops all the way back around to being iconic. Just a guy named Guy, punting footballs into orbit. And it's so fitting for the anonymous existence of being a punter, the kind of guy that everyone seems to forget. But don't let that name fool you. Ray wasn't just some guy. Oh no, he was the guy, at least at his position. He was the first punter ever inducted into the Hall of Fame and had a cannon of a leg. Leave it to a punter to have the most anonymous name attached to one of the most dominant players at the position that the league has ever seen. But hey, which NFL player do you think has the best name related to their position? Or is there anyone that we may have missed? What do you think we got right here? What do you think we got wrong? Is there a more fitting name that we might have picked? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.